StarCraft fans, it's that time again. We're in the final day of the round of 24. This time around, though, we've got a new caster on the desk. It's going to be the return of Razz to help me cast this Protoss group. What's up, dude?
Good morning, Nyoken. Excited to be here today. Hoping to see some Protoss love, man. I'm hoping to bring some of that Protoss energy to the table today.
Yeah, they need your energy, man. We've got 7 Zergs, 5 Terran, and 2 Protosses only into the round of 16 so far. We desperately need some more Protoss players. Otherwise, it's going to be a Zerg and Terran fiesta going forward.
Yeah, talk about raining on my parade, man. I need some of these Protoss to get in
Yeah.
there. I don't want to see a Zerg versus Zerg through the whole tournament. That would be the fastest ASL ever. That's all we
Yeah.
had.
Yeah, as far as the next rounds where they're all best of three, yeah, those groups would go quite quick. But as far as Protoss players, I don't think we could have gotten really better players here. We've got Bisu, probably the best Protoss player of all time, and then we've got an equal legend, also Stork. And unfortunately, though, they're facing off in the second match, so one of them's going to be down in the losers bracket, and then regardless of who's facing off there, they're going to have a tough time going up against either Royal or Ivory. Not Royal, Rush.
Yeah, Rush, I mean, obviously top notch TVP, fantastic player, but both of these guys are not new to any kind of tournament. We know they're legends. They've played through the years, they've played through the leagues, they have a ton of experience. So it's unfortunate that they're playing each other first, but I still give them both a really good shot of getting out of the group. And we both know if Stork runs into Rush, we could see some crazy two-base carrier play that he loves to pull out here and there. So anything's on the table because we both know carriers, fantastic.
They're pretty good. I would love it. I've seen enough Shuttle Man that I need some carriers in my life. And yeah, you're hearing that right. Even a Terran players asking for some carrier play. I would love to see Stork face off versus Rush. But if that does not happen and we actually get Bisu versus Rush or Ivory, that would also be fantastic. Bisu, he's very strong. The thing I'm most curious about is that guy right there, Mr. Ivory. I don't have any intel on this guy. I was thinking maybe I could recognize his ID based on like his clan tag. Nope. I don't know, man. And you linked me a VOD just a few minutes ago about him playing versus Paralyzed. Have you seen any of his other games?
I checked out some of his latter games from KwarK, but most of them are very aggressive play. Uh, Low eco, get after a style. The VOD that I linked you was a ZVP where it was 5 hatch Hydra, like 28 drones, get after it for a while, and then try to play out where he ended up getting stuck on 3 base Hive ZVP, which at the pro level usually gets shut down, and it did by Paralyzed. So it seemed like he is an aggressive type Zerg. That's what might have gotten him here. Maybe some tricky all in. So maybe he has some special build orders prepared for us today, especially against Rush to start off.
Well, I hope he does, because he's going to need to have special builds planned, especially versus Rush, because Rush, whenever I watch this guy play TVC, it is crazy, man. He is a bio player through and through, so you know it's coming, but the amount of multitasking he does once it gets to mid game is just crazy. I am not exaggerating when I say this. There have been games where I've seen him play versus Queen, and he's legitimately attacking 4 or 5 bases all at the same time, whether it's BCs, whether it's drops, whether it's with vessels and his main army out on the map. He is literally everywhere once the game gets going. He's crazy to face off against. So I do hope that Ivory can strike him down before we get to mid game, because if he doesn't, even though I know 4 base Zerg is amazing Zerg versus Terran, I think especially versus Rush it's going to be very difficult.
Yeah, man. I think about Rush and I think about those games where he has 2 dropships, top right corner, 2 dropships, bottom right, while his bio is moving across the map, and you're like, oh my goodness, like it's close. Oh wait, no, it's not. He just wiped
Yeah.
2 drone lines and killed a natural, like at the same time. Like those are the games I think about him, and I feel like for a player like Ivory, who has been on this stage, probably hasn't got as many crazy games in. That's going to become more and more difficult when someone's putting the pressure on you like that. Just another level.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely just another level. So we've talked a bit about Rush and Royal. What about our second match, Stork versus Bisu, a PvP? Has there been any like key meta changes in PvP that you've seen from VODs, or you think we'll just see like normal Goon Reaver, which I've seen since, the dawn of time, really?
Yeah, most of the time you're seeing, especially at the pro level, Goon Reaver, speed shuttles flying all over the place. What makes today extra interesting is that Apocalypse, right where we're gonna play, there is no ramp. So we have definitely some PvP craziness where you might see someone throw down three gateways, stop pro production, just go for it. And I think that's where the meta game of these guys playing so long together might come into effect because if I know you're going to three gate, I can go two gate DT. But maybe I know that you think that, so I'm going to go three gate Robo. So like all of a sudden, these different matchups of PvP, the different build orders, can come into play so quickly because of the way the map is built. So I think there's a lot on this table today for some type of all-in PvP if they really want to go for it. I'm definitely curious to see what are both going to play and how they interact together because in PvP, your build order can cause you to win, can cause you to lose. It's definitely that little bit of luck in there.
All right, or maybe he can pull one of my builds out where it's like, I know you're gonna three gate. Okay, we'll eat this. I'm gonna four gate speed zealot. That's my move, man.
Ooh, wow, that's good
Yeah,
stuff. That's good
yeah.
stuff.
You think the three gate goon is over? No, here comes speed zealots.
Surprise, chasing you down, leg speed, baby,
Yeah.
on the move.
Well, it's funny you mentioned maps because I was gonna ask. I got input from Eonzerg. I think he agreed that the maps were pretty good. I think the maps are pretty good. What do you think about maps for Protoss?
I think that most of the maps are not terrible for Protoss. I don't think it's a map thing this season. Looking at the past results from the last couple groups, I think Protoss. I don't want to say they're being a little bit greedy, but we see these Hydra openings really crushing them, and that's not a map thing. That's just a meta thing. And I think at some point we're going to see some type of shift. You and I've talked about it before, like just maybe putting two cannons down instead of just having one all the time before you move out because these constant backstabs or just Hydra busts are just catching these Protoss players. But overall, I don't think the map pool is bad. Dark Origin, I think PBT gets a little bit tricky. Taking your fifth base, holding it, that's definitely a little bit harder. La Cabanela, I think that map is absolutely fine. I think we saw an epic game with free there, just didn't move out, but there are bases to take and ways to split it. So I don't think the map pool is that bad for Protoss. The only map I'm tired of is Polypoid. If we could remove that and put a different map in there, I'd love to get rid of that. I'm over that map.
Well, luckily for you, these players have been vetoing Polypoid whenever it's been an option in the series. Like, I don't think we've seen any Polypoid games so far this season, so I don't think you're going to have to worry about that. I want to see more Invader games. That map seems to get vetoed quite a lot. We did get to see two yesterday, and they were quite epic. But I do want to see some more Invader games because, like you were saying, the counterattacks that Zergs can do, quite deadly versus Protoss, of course. And I think that map is well designed for counterattack play. And it could. I'm still waiting for us to get like a base trade scenario game because I feel like that's the map it's going to happen on.
Yeah, could definitely see that even in PvP it could get crazy, right? Like if you're behind, you just go to the other Protoss base and you just push in. That's definitely a common scenario. So I definitely would love to see some games. I've seen some PvP on there from the pro streams, and that map gets very tricky because of all the high grounds
Yep.
and players trying to move along with Reavers or Templar. And I've seen people play like the double shuttle for Reavers, get on the high ground and just snipe things as they come. People trying to play Templar, getting up there and sitting. It definitely adds an odd element for PvP being able to play both ways. But Reavers are king still. Both these guys we both know can play PvP that way with mass Reavers. Fantastic micro, so they're probably gonna play that style if that map were there, but we're gonna see Apocalypse, so who knows what they got in store in their back pocket.
Yeah, I'm taking a look at Apocalypse right now. Of course, everybody knows the high ground there. You were mentioning that because there's no ramp, we may see three gate. What about 12 Nexus? Do you think this is a viable build on a map like this? It is three player. You would get scouted first, or not first, but fast. But if you don't get scouted fast, maybe you could get away with that. Go batteries, potentially something like that.
Yeah, I've definitely seen even on the latter more 12 Nexus PvP, and I think it's definitely something that's doable. The problem is you open yourself up to what all in is the other player going to do.
Yeah.
And there's very much so a buildable area by these naturals to put a robo and then put a battery. We saw it earlier, PVT. I forget which game it was. If it was Mini or Shuttle, that I think maybe it was Shuttle versus Row, where they just put down the proxy robo when they saw gasless.
Yeah.
That's usually what you see PvP when you see a 12 Nexus, some type of proxy robo with batteries and just have the Reavers bust through. So got to be careful there, but viable, but you're going to open yourself up to some nonsense. And if you're okay with that, you go for it.
Yeah, I do. Now that you mention it, I do remember a game. I think it was even in ASL, but it was a long time ago where somebody did that, where they proxied a robo and they slowly creeped batteries and cannons with the robo because of course since he's building Reaver, you're not really focusing on building observers, so he needed the cannon and also had a battery there to heal it, and it was incredibly strong, even I think stronger than uh, using it versus Terran. I mean, like, Terrans at least have Siege Tank, which, has infinite range, can shoot across the map. But Protoss doesn't have anything like that in the early stages.
No, when you do 12 Nexus, your range is so delayed, so it's hard to get your goons on the Reavers. So when the Reavers are fired a Scarab and then getting healed by the shield batter in between, they feel like they're invincible. You're like, oh no, I
Yeah.
can't kill this thing, man. Can't move, but I can't kill it.
Yeah, legitimately unkillable, especially with the battery there to support it. So our interviews are done. We're going to be going into our games in just a second. And our first match is going to be Rush versus Ivory. And even though we've had favorites, of course, in every group, and I think this time around, again, the favorite is going to be Rush, this season has really delivered the upsets. Last season, I thought, well, there can't be possibly any more upsets than this. But this time around, it feels like the favorite has been eliminated almost every single time. Like yesterday, I still can't believe it. Who didn't make it? I can't believe, almost in the first group, like Mini almost getting knocked out. It's been wild this season.
This season has, I agree, has shocked us more than last season. We thought last season watching Snow and Light be eliminated, we're like, oh my goodness, that's such a one-off. That's so crazy. How could that be? Well, here we are again. Those guys are not moving on. And to add to that from yesterday, Queen not moving on. Queen, Snow, Light. Like when you think of all the three races and people at the top of the pyramid, those are the names that immediately come to you, right? And they're going to be watching from their couch at home, just like the rest of us.
Yeah, it's so true. You for sure have on your liquid bet all three of those players at least going round of 8. Probably a lot of them going to the finals. If anybody has a perfect liquid bet going right now, I want to find that person. I want to know what insider intel they got on that, because I feel like nobody could possibly have predicted this. As you can see, this is what I'm talking about. Soma and Mini, not really a surprise they're getting through. But then the surprises are coming. We've got Calm out in first place. We've got Killer out in first place. We've got Light gone in Group D, Action and Effort making out. Yesterday, I actually think Group E was the group of the tournament so far. The games were amazing. The Terran versus Zergs on point. The Sharp versus Ample game, absolutely epic. TVT. I loved it. And like I was saying earlier, we only have 2 Protoss players in the round of 16 so far, and one of them is there simply because he got placed directly into the round of 16. Mini's the only one to come from the round of 24, so we desperately need Bisu and Stork to do well today.
Hashtag buff Protus, Nyoken. That's
Yeah,
where we're at here.
yeah.
I heard Eon Zerg mention it yesterday at the end of the cast. He ain't wrong. I think we gotta get a buff for this poor race. We're just getting slapped down every which way.
Okay,
Only
well,
one Protus making it through so far, actually having to play games. It hurts. It hurts to
it
watch.
does it does hurt. Well, here's a stat that is crazy. That second line, it says it is the first Bisu Stork matchup in 4,267 days that's been offline. That is
Wow.
crazy to think about. That is 12 years that we haven't seen this.
Wow. That's wild. 4,067 days. And you would imagine these guys have run into each other so much more offline, but apparently that's not the case.
Yeah, that is absolutely crazy. Can't read the rest of them, but yeah, that one definitely stood out to me. And that's gonna be an epic match, man. I'm looking forward to this, even though I don't play Protoss. Uh, who wouldn't be waiting to see Bisu Stork in 2023?
No, these are the legends, right? These are the guys that have been playing forever. This, if you're a StarCraft fan, these are the guys you want to see play and keep going and do well. You want to see these guys push through. But before we get to that, we got this guy here ready to get after Ivory. He's like, "Welcome to the show, my man. Welcome to the show."
Yeah, and I like his music choice. You see that?
Oh, this
Ooh,
there it is.
play into
Look
his
at
name,
that. Love it. Maybe that's where it comes from.
maybe. And the stats are not surprising to me. Rush is really freaking good these days. 58% win rate versus Protoss. I guess the Terran versus Zerg is a slightly lower than I expected just because I've seen how crazy he is on his stream. And as we pointed out earlier, Ivory, a newcomer to ASL, you can see his only stats are in the online qualifier. And apparently, in the round of 8, he took down Sock. Then he took down Piano. And then, yes, you read that right, he took down Soma 2-0 to make it in. So, quite impressive list of players for him to take down, especially the Soma one. But now he's going to be playing up against an expert in TVZ. This is going to be really, really hard. But like I said, at least when you play Rush, you know without a doubt that this guy is Bioman. And whenever I see somebody play bio, I always think like, well, maybe you can hit him with like a lurker timing. Maybe you can catch him out of position with a counterattack. So I hope he does have something very special planned.
Could we see a pool first type of opening here with
Could see that
Apocalypse?
too. We haven't, actually a lot of players have been semi-walling the entrance. And, last season, was it the round of, was it the finals or the round of 4? I remember Hero going for a 4 pool on Nemesis, and that map you full wall completely, and the 4 pool still worked. So if you go for a forward wall, and it's just a semi wall, well, those lings are just going to be waltzing in there. So maybe something like a 4 pool could be a good move, actually.
Only 3-player map, right? So you
Yeah.
can find them pretty quickly.
Yeah, even a 7 pool. Like if you want to have econ behind it, 7 pool could be good too. Regardless, our players are ready, so let's get into it. Game 1, Rush versus Ivory on Apocalypse. Do it. Oh, no 4 pool. It's alright. In the mid right, we've got our red Terran. It is Rush. And in the top middle, our blue Zerg, a newcomer to ASL. It is Ivory.
Oh, I was hoping maybe for the 5 pool there, Nyoken, but we see another drone being made. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, unlucky.
Unlucky that he doesn't pick it. But I think about back to seasons like with Beast that does do all these crazy all-ins. Like, if you're Ivory, maybe you want to show your style and show what you have, right? And not just go for some kind of crazy all-in and actually try to play a game out of it. May not be the best, most suggestible thing, but might want to be able to show your skill and show what you're made of it. Oh, man. Heat racks here? Nope. Okay.
Yeah, I can appreciate going for the macro play. If you're a believer in your skill, go for it, man. It's just going to be so hard versus Rush. Last season we had Bishop make it in. Bishop's a great player, but he cheesed every game. Some of them they won, and I even liked the Marine Medic play on the 815 map.
76,
yeah,
he scanned it when they're on 76.
Yeah, like I liked it, but at the same time I was like, okay, man, can we play one normal build? Like, it feels like if you just play defensively, you take him down. But yeah, we've got a normal opener from Ivory here, 12 hatch, And we did have the semi-wall like I was talking about.
Yeah, no surprise there. It seems like that's been the new thing with the double depot right next to the barracks. Has been very interesting to see from the Terran players. Does that create a place for the Marine to just walk so that only one Zergling can hit it? The double depot?
So the double... yeah, so if you were to build another... Well, in this particular position, I don't think you can do the double depot. But at the other positions, yes, it would wall off that side completely, and then you can only go through the gap that's on the left side. Okay, actually, there it is. I think it is just a single Marine opening like you were talking about on the left side. And we've been seeing this wall almost every single time we've gotten on this map. And what's also nice about this is you can put the Marine in between the depots, and they can't get hit at all, really, because most likely Lings aren't going to get through the left side. So it's a cute move right there. We do have 2-hatch play from Ivory, and it looks like it's going to be the normal around 205 gas. So this is low econ. It's not going to be 2.5 hatch from him.
Yeah, we've been seeing a lot of 2.5 hatch from all these Zergs, so curious to see if Ivory's just going to play with the 2 hatch and just get after it, and maybe we're going to have some type of Meadow all in, maybe that guards rebuild where you take a third base, but only gas and try to bust them. Very popular amongst the professional Zergs as well, so I think that's a good hope for him. Maybe he wants to play semi all in, just get after it with the Muta. We don't know what his Muta micro is like, but it could be very strong.
Yep, and we do have a slight move out from the Marines, just get out of vision. It is going to be +1 weapon for Rush. Now yesterday, we saw Ample go for a +1 weapon into 5 racks, even versus a 2-hatch play. That, in general, is quite ambitious because it's hard to support 5 barracks when you know you're facing a Zerg that's going 2-hatch. But he made it work, so we may see a 5 racks from Rush also, because I know he likes that build. And I do want to point out is that there were Lings hidden at the natural. I thought that he was going to continue to build Lings there, but it doesn't seem like he is.
Yeah, no Ling run by today. Thought maybe we might see that. A lot of Zergs. Oh, as we say that, 2 more Lings do pop. I wonder how much vision he had on those Marines going up the ramp if he saw them staying there, because normally, as a normal Zerg reaction, you want to add a couple Lings if they're going to be moving across the map, but he only made 6, so he must have been confident that Rush was not going to move out.
Yeah, it's always dangerous to move out with only 4 Marines, because if you're playing an eBay build, or if you're doing some type of academy, Marine medic timing, and you lose those 4 Marines, that can be actually half your army when you really want to move out. Now that's interesting. Okay, I thought he was going to actually go and send the drone back and hide somewhere else, but not going to be the case. He is going to continue to expand there. We do have the academy done. Stim coming in. We've already got the 3 racks. I expect this to be 4 racks, but maybe Rush will go for the 5 racks like we saw yesterday.
Worked out yesterday for Ample, really pushed the pace. Maybe he's looking to put the pressure on as much as he can. Do you think there's like a meta now, knowing that for Rush, knowing that Ivory's new, like trying to put more pressure on him, trying to force more things, more mistakes from him, because he's one of the amateurs?
It could be, and 5 racks is definitely a build that can put a lot of pressure on, so it wouldn't surprise me that that's what he's trying to abuse. But Ivory's doesn't really look like he's messing up his build at all. In fact, I really like it. He only built 6 Lings, like we pointed out. His drone count is good. He nailed his Muta timing. He's got his 3rd base going up. Unfortunately for him, Rush knows where it is, so if Marines sneak across the map, which we've seen some players do, he will be able to get over to that base and start knocking down some drones pretty easily. But here are the first 5 Mutas. Good setup, though. I don't expect this to do much damage, but this can be annoying when you wall off like this, bouncing off of the depots. Okay, now that was a little bit of an overextension. You can see that the Muta almost actually died already.
Yeah, this is going to be where we start to see what Ivory's got, what kind of Muta control he's going to be able to have as he pokes in and out. Will he throw away Muta? Will he not be able to? And this Nyoken, from all the ZVTs, seems to be the Muta sweet spot, right, where they can just fly in and pick off reinforcements between the natural and the main. Kind of reminds me about Butter a little bit with the way it's set up. Not just the map color, but the fact that it's hard to transition your units through that choke.
Yeah, it's definitely easy to pick off 3 or 4 Marines as they go through, and as we say that, we see one get picked off right there. Now the question to me is, how many mutas does this guy build? Is there going to be a transition? Because yesterday, we really didn't see transitions at all. Now, what is that? That's +1 armor for Rush? Maybe this is a new meta that he's implemented in his play, but really, you want to have stim and damage, and he just lost his whole army.
And Ivory making the first big blow here, man. Taking out the entire first bio ball, medics and all. That's going to slow down Rush a ton.
Yeah, this is not what you were looking for as Rush. I am so shocked that it's armor. I've theory crafted this, but every time I've implemented it, it didn't seem as good as weapon. Now we've got mutas jumping right on top of the Marines. There's no medics here, but the Marines did trade very well there. He did knock down a lot of mutas, but this is 3 hatch Zerg, and it's a 3rd hatch at another base. So Ivory really crushing it right now.
We're about to be supply blocked as well here, Nyoken. We are taking down the 2 depot wall in the front. Only 5 supply to work with, about to be blocked if he gets that second one. Adding a ton of turrets as well. Can't be good for Rush's eco.
Yeah, I want to get a look in Rush's main. How far along is his factory? Is it almost done? Like, do we have a starport coming anytime soon? Because it looks like this is going to be Mutaman. I don't think we have a Hydra Den anywhere. And if you're facing Mutaman, you really got to get Vessels or Valkyries, or you need your Marine count to not get reset, but that's already happened. So I don't know how we're going to play into this. The medics are very low on energy too. He even loses that one.
Wow, a lot of pressure here from Ivory, doing a really good job getting all these picks.
Yeah.
With the scouting medic there, getting in the third base, giving all the details. Take notes. Oh, there's our Den and Queen's Nest going down, but only 5 drones at the third base there.
Yeah, and Ivory is taking a 4th base. Now that I'm not too sure of. It feels like that's going to be hard to make use of, but we'll see. Or even, why would you need that base, right? Like, you're going to have your 3rd base not completely saturated, but maybe he wants the 4 gas, I guess, could be the only reason. Regardless, these mutas are wreaking havoc in the natural. A full SCV pull.
Wow, man. Full SCV pull. We see him backing up, but Rush already bringing his army back home. A lot of eco damage done here by Ivory.
Yeah, and Rush still does not have +1 weapon. I think it's maybe about 45 seconds to a minute away, even if he started it instantly. But this is so many mutas. However, the Marine count is starting to get big at this point. You can see that, geez, he's just picking off so many Marines right now, man.
He is thinning this army out non-stop. Just flying in from this angle, getting some good pokes, forcing a ton of stims. Uh-oh, maybe the first, nope. Only loses a couple of muta there. Picking up more SCVs, flying in and out. Really good micro here from Ivory.
This is great, and being in the back like this, he can pick off Marines as they funnel through one at a time through the minerals. We've got Hive coming in, and you may have called it. It could be a Gardra follow-up. We've got the first Valkyrie out. Finally, we've got something to shut down the mutas, and just like yesterday, the Valkyrie almost ends up dying. However, those mutas are extremely low. You can see why Valkyries have come into the meta, just even having one dealing so much damage. And now, despite dealing so much damage, if we look at the comp of what Ivory has, he has like 15 heavily damaged mutas going up against a pretty strong bio ball plus 2 Valkyries.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be careful. We need to transition ASAP because if they have Hydra speed. It looked like he wanted to go for a Gardra build there. Oh, no, this Lurkers. Never mind. I thought those Hydras had speed.
Yeah, but this is going to be close. It's going to be just as close as it was yesterday. Ample versus Queen. He's stemming for it. The Lurkers are not done right now. He knows this is probably his only window. He's got to win here. Full drone pull. Has he done it?
Pushing in here. Lurkers coming in from the backside, hoping that they can kind of sneak in and save the day. But I don't know if that's going to be the case, man. These mutas are so low.
Oh my gosh.
And going down.
Wow.
What a turnaround. We were sitting there praising Ivory, like, wow, look at this Muta Micro picking off SCVs, crushing the bio ball. Well, then 2 Valkyries come out, and we'll see you later, Muta.
Yeah, I think Ivory knew he let that slip a little bit. His mutas were doing so much damage I was thinking when he put down the fourth hatch, like, why not put it in the main? Like, actually just use it to build more units, more stuff, instead of trying to expand and get a fourth gas. But Rush, he hit probably at the only moment he could have hit to end that game because the lurkers were about to be up. He or Ivory was going to have his hive tech done, defilers coming or guardians coming, or really anything could have been coming, and it would have been great versus Rush because of how much damage he had done. But well done from Rush. I thought he was down and out, actually. You know, I got my bingo card out and it said Rush knocked down into the loser's bracket, and I almost put a bingo stamp on it, but nope.
He did not today. Rush was not letting you get bingo, Nyoken. Would not let you
Yeah,
get it. He knew you needed that last one.
I did.
But it's crazy that he went +1 armor first. I agree that's nothing something you really don't see, and then transition into the Valkyries, which has been more common. But what do you think about the +1 armor? Not going to be the meta.
I don't know. I mean, it ended up working, right? Or it ended up working in the end. You know, maybe Rush has some type of guide talking about +1 armor, but I had tried it in the past, and it. We know that the mutas have +1 weapons, so maybe the idea is to eliminate the +1 weapon. But whenever I had +1 armor, it didn't feel like a difference to me. I could be wrong though.
Yeah, I mean, I think the +1 weapons also kicked in, so that was the big help. But I
Yeah,
think the Valkyries also just do so much
yeah,
damage.
Valkyries are
They just
nuts.
melt those muta. Those muta's just gone.
Yeah, you know, there was a phase where a lot of Zerg players were going armor, and if you play Valkyries into Muta armor, now that's different. Valkyries all of a sudden, of course, they don't do no damage, but it is very noticeable when the mutas have armor. So, unfortunate for Ivory there. I think he had a good shot, but at least he's coming to play, man. He's at least letting us know, like, we ain't messing around. Like, I'm here, and I'm here to win. We're going to be going into a break, and we'll be back with Bisu versus Stork. All right, we are back. We just had Rush take down Ivory in a pretty close game, actually. Now we're going into our promotional event, which is the Ask ASL. If you've got a question to ask the players, you can post it on Afrika. If you get chosen, you can potentially win a tumbler, aka a thermos, is what we call it in America. And also, ASL's got some sick mouse pads. If you're curious about getting an ASL mouse pad, it's got like all the champion photos on there. Check out the shop on Afrika and order it, man. It looks pretty sick.
Yeah, saw them yesterday. They were hosting them up at the desk. They look pretty cool.
They do. And they're quite large too. They're like whenever I see mouse pads that large, it just reminds me of the Counter-Strike players that I watched when I used to play in WCG, where they're like literally taking their entire arm and scrolling it like 2 feet across the desk. You know what I
Take
mean?
up the entire desk.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just all mouse pad.
Yeah, literally just their sensitivity is so low, they're moving their arms so far just to like turn around. It's crazy.
It's definitely wild to see that stuff. I'm actually posting my question right now. Why can't more Protoss win? There it is.
Yeah,
Gonna
hopefully.
send it in.
Yeah, hopefully they'll give you a good answer. But speaking of Protoss, we've got 2 legends facing off now. It is Bisu versus Stork. And we're going to have Apocalypse again. And you talked about it earlier. This is a map with no ramp that could lead to interesting builds.
Absolutely. Could get wild. We might see some standard. I think one of the most standard things is to see like a 21-second gate where you put on pressure, you get 4 goons with range. And if they went 1 gate robo, you can put some pressure. Or if they're looking to expand quickly, you put some pressure on. Also does well into 2 gate robo. Does do well versus a 3 gate. So that might be the middle of the road type of build that you just want to be able to play into the mid game with, absorb some pressure. But because so much relies in PvP upon who's going to get that extra nexus first and be able to defend and hold it, right? If you could do that, usually you're in pretty good shape. So the other thing about this map, Nyoken, is that very open mains, right, for shuttles to fly around and naturals through the top. So a little bit harder to defend in PvP, usually with maybe a cannon in the main, but definitely can get tough with the Reavers flying through.
Yeah, that is true. And this map really does have a very large drop area. Like, it reminds me of Tau Cross in terms of how big the main is and how many angles you have to go for a drop. Also, there's that high ground over the natural, so you can, like the cliff, so you can actually like run through the back of the minerals without really getting spotted and come in through that angle. Now, I do want to point out there was one sign out there that said he has been watching since he was 7 years old. Me too, man. Me too. Only 27 here. Been watching for 20 plus years.
Only 27.
Exactly.
Crushing it.
Yeah.
Ready to go.
Well, we're going to look at Bisu's stats. 60% win rate versus Protoss. Doesn't have nearly as many games played compared to Terran and Zerg, though.
Yeah, 61%. Pretty high for PvP, but at this level, these guys are just that good. They get it done.
Yeah, PvP, similar to ZVZ, where it can not necessarily be a roll of the dice in build orders, but I do know that a lot of games do end simply because of build order choice. But players like Bisu, Rain, Snow, they make you believe, or they prove, that PvP is not all about luck and build order. If you're getting a 61% chance, you can't always hit like that. We're getting a look at Stork's stats too. 45% win rate versus Protoss. Also not bad. Also not a lot of games versus Protoss. I'm excited, dude.
I'm very excited. I mean, this is, if you're a StarCraft fan, right, these are the games you're dying to see. The legends, the Battle of the Legends, Battle of the Titans, getting after it. It's going to be very exciting.
Yep, like when we had that show match a couple weeks ago with the return of fantasy, I was like looking at my calendar. I'm like, what year am I in? It's kind of like a Jumanji moment. Like, what year is it? Is this for real? I thought we were done with this. Can't possibly be 2023. Yet here we are, and we're ready. So let's get into game 2. Bisu, Stork, Apocalypse. Okay, in the bottom left, in the red, it is none other than Bisu himself. And then in the top middle, a return back to ASL, it is Stork.
So right off the jump, Nyoken, I think I give advantage positionally to Stork a little bit, just because he is above where Bisu's main is. Easier shuttle paths to be able to put your army by your natural and still fly shuttles in. So you can posture a little bit and then fly. So I think PvP, bases can also play a role, so I think there's definitely that advantage to Stork, at least to start the game. A lot of foreign fans out there, Nyoken. A lot of foreign fans, man.
Yep. Oh, not sure exactly who it is, but obviously he's a great artist. And that sign with the foreigner, he said even foreigners like StarCraft. You're damn right. That's why we're here. It's because everybody loves StarCraft. 25 years later, still going strong.
Absolutely. It's amazing to see how many foreigners are actually in the crowd, man. Seeing from all over the world at these games. It's awesome.
It is awesome. Well, we've got single gate from both players. Don't have any double gate shenanigans, at least not just yet.
Yeah, we see no scout, which is definitely interesting. Definitely something that's come more into meta over the last couple of years, where you delay that scout until after your cybernetic score. Used to be always you scouted right after your gateway to see what was going on, but these players not going to do that, going to kind of stick more to the meta. And it opens us up for some things, because are they going to skip a zealot, which normally you don't do, but if someone's going 2-gate, life's tough. So they both opted, though, to play a little more blind.
Well, there's the cybernetics from both sides. Bisu, it looked like he had queued up a zealot and then canceled it. Okay, now I think he just started, or I think both players now queued up a zealot. We're at 16 out of 17 supply, so both players just playing, a little cautious here. Don't want to risk running into something crazy. We do have Stork with the faster scout. Still no scout from Bisu, not just yet at least.
And no scout from Bisu, which normally is going to have to lead into some kind of quick robotics play, because if you don't scout at all, the other Protoss can just drop down the Citadel and go DT, and you're in trouble. But he's opted to play this style here on this map.
Well, both players have enough gas to go for range. So I'm looking. Okay, there we go. We got range for Bisu. Probably going to have range for Stork. Yep, there it is. So basically mirrored builds. But somehow Bisu has 40 more gas. Now, not the hugest of deals, but it's something that I noticed when I constantly keep looking at his income. Well, now shot down to just like 25.
Yeah, he put something else down with the other goon. Usually you want to be at gas. That's why you see if probes catch you early, they harass your gas line so that they can try to kind of get you off and mess up your gas intake as your early game, so that they can delay the robo, they can delay whatever tech. So seems like Bisu's staying on it. Stork just playing pretty standard as well here. Nothing too crazy. I think we see a second gateway going down there for Stork. So that looks like he's going to want to pressure a little bit earlier than Bisu, where, yep, no scout, so Bisu kind of has to go into the robotics.
Okay, and we do have the first deviation. We've got the 2-gate for Stork. We've got the 1-gate robo for Bisu. Bisu does have a probe at mid-left. I assume that's probably just for a pylon to spot.
Yep, probably going to put a whole pylon ring around, just try to see if shuttles are flying in. 3-gate robo here.
If you were calling it earlier, 3-gate robo, and that's going to be a good move versus what Stork's doing. I still don't see robo for him just yet. He does have 200 gas though, so I imagine it should be coming down pretty soon.
Yeah, he should be putting it down. The thing is, his 2-gate was pretty early, so he should have the Dragoon advantage for a little bit, at least until there are 2 rounds for Bisu that come out. And Bisu probably lighter on the probes a little bit with this build. A little bit more eco-heavy, so you have to cut to get all those things. Oh, good shots here from Stork, too. That's massive, man. Yeah. This is the timing I was talking about, Nyoken, where when you go 2-gate right away, you have that extra goon for a little bit.
Yeah, but he did have to, travel very far across the map. So these 4... Wow, he's gotten off so many shots for free. He might actually be able to get some kills, yet somehow the impeccable micro from Bisu there, he's able to pick off the first goon, and now it's 4 versus 3, and Stork has got to back off.
Yeah, head scratcher there. Not sure how he was able to get the first kill after taking 2 volleys from the other goons, but he gets it done. The only good thing there for Stork is he's able to see the build exactly, so he knows exactly what he's up against. Probably won't go into Observer, will probably go into a Robo immediately and just play with Goon and Robo because he knows there can be no DT. He saw the robotics, he saw the added gateways.
Yeah, and actually Bisu is not going Reaver, he is just going Observer, so straight Reaver would be amazing. Yet Stork, I guess, not convinced that it's, you know, not DT, so he's going to get an Observer and be safe. We do have a probe moving, like he's going to put down a Nexus. We'll see if he actually does, though.
Yeah, 3-gate Observer here, he should be feeling pretty safe. There is the robotics now from Stork. Probably no clear advantage for any player just yet. Both kind of just playing look like into the mid game. Bisu gonna get down his Nexus first, though. That is a key part of this matchup right here.
Well, this is an interesting move from Bisu. When I saw the 3-gate, I thought he was going to try and go like Reaver, Goon, and try and go for a combo with just a lot of stuff and kill off Stork, but instead he's transitioning this into a Nexus, and somehow Stork already knows that this is transitioning into a Nexus because he's going to build a Nexus himself in just a second. Observer spots Bisu, though.
Yeah, this is a tricky little game they're going to play here because if you get the guy's first Observer, that's always so beneficial because they're usually not building another one right away because they're trying to get Reaver tech. Little does Stork know that Bisu's delayed his a bit. Uh-oh, here we go. The dance of the Dragoons begins.
I'm looking at how many goons. It looks like it's, what, 10 versus 9 right now, plus a Zealot. So it would be a close fight. I like how Bisu retreated to the high ground. Definitely don't want to attack into high ground if you're Stork. You're going to have so many missed shots. So well done from Bisu to retreat, take no losses. And seems like the game is just going to stabilize at this point. Bisu's got a slightly better econ right now because his Nexus is about to complete. But Stork not too far behind.
Yeah, and I think this is where this map with the high grounds will get interesting. Will we see defensive Protoss with just drops where we might get into 3-4 base versus 3-4 base high-tech units? I'd love to see PvP get to like 25 minutes, get some Arbiters in here, let's get a crazy game.
That's what I want, man. I want to see the Arbiters. I want to see them stasis the Observers and then just run them over with no detection.
And recall your whole army somewhere else, man.
Yep, and we do have the shuttle with the Reaver moving out. Still don't see a shuttle or a Reaver for Bisu, though, and any Protoss knows one Reaver can be the difference maker for sure. Those 100 damage Scarabs, they really pack a punch, and you were talking about it. Okay, luckily there's the Goons moving back into position. I thought he was going to have no defense for this incoming Reaver drop.
Yeah, this is where the bases get tricky. Oh, here we go. He's about to drop. He gets seen. Going to probably be pushed away. Yeah, can't go in there. But this will be a constant threat from Stork, especially once he gets shuttle speed. He continuously move on the high ground, defend it, look like he's going to attack, and then drop. So Bisu is going to have to leave some units probably back there, or he's going to have to put some cannons because this is going to be a constant threat.
All right, well, we do have both players just sitting on high ground right now. You know, in the past year or two, I've seen players start implementing not just one shuttle with Reavers, but multiple shuttles with Reavers. Do you think we can expect that? Do you think we'll see like 3 or 4 Reavers here?
I think it's going to depend on what these guys want to transition to the mid game. If we don't see a Citadel right away and a Forge, in probably about like a minute or two, you're probably going to expect to see the 3-4 Reavers. And then if that usually happens, they add damage because then when they fire the 2 shots, they just pop so many goons. They're just gone. Soup all over the place.
Okay. Well, I do see that Bisu does not have his gas, and gas is quite important in PvP, but it does allow him to pump out more and more stuff right now. However, if Stork ends up holding, I'm going to like his position because he's just going to have more higher tier stuff. Now, because it's high ground, I'm sitting here looking at the map. Where do you attack as Bisu? Is he really going to try and attack up this high ground? It seems like he might actually try it.
This is tricky, man. This is tricky. He can poke him with these Reavers like this, but oh my goodness.
Big hits. However, his Reavers are very far forward. The Reavers for Bisu on the right side not getting hit. Look at those splash damage shots onto the goons on Stork. Oh my god, so many melts.
Goodness.
But it's still uphill, dude.
He doesn't care, man. He's pushing right through. Oh my goodness.
It looked
may have done it here.
It looked like there were so many so many goons for Bisu, but the high ground really coming through. However, the Bisu Reaver on the right side still hasn't been taken down. Those are 7 kills, and that's not probes. Those are 7 goon kills. So That Reaver is worth its weight in gold, but both sides got some killer shots.
Yeah, that was a crazy fight. Those Reavers being on opposite sides of the field, being able to get all their shots off, were just crazy, man. Those first two that Stork shot hit probably 7 Dragoons. Like, it hit so many.
Yeah, but look at supply. It's now a 20 supply lead for Stork, and I think Bisu was really relying on that to actually end the game because, as I stated, he was not mining his gas. I'm assuming probably because he cut probes for this, and if he cut probes, he can't afford to mine gas and mine the minerals. So right now, to me, it looks like Stork's in a pretty darn good spot.
Yeah, it seemed like Bisu must have added gateways quicker, cut the probes like you said, to try to get that bigger army, because it looked like he did have a bigger army, but like you said, he went up the high ground. Nyoken, what are we doing? Why are we going up the high ground there? Just crazy.
He did have some big shots though, but yeah, I think even the observer pointing out the saturation difference for Stork right now. We've got 6 gates, if I'm reading that correctly, for Bisu, 7 gates for Stork. Also, that shuttle has speed, and that's going to be obviously an important upgrade. If he ever spots the goons out of position, he can just waltz into the main and just ransack that probe line.
And I think we're going to have a move like I was talking about, Nyoken. I think he's going to kind of posture himself down here, force Bisu to get his army together, and then probably fly right into the main a couple times. And an 8th gateway, man, these guys are going for it. 8 gateways, 2 base. They're going to be pumping units nonstop, going for it. Because I thought after that fight we might see a transition to a 3rd Nexus, play defensively, but no, man, we're just ramping up the units.
And they want to end this game. That must be Citadel somewhere, right? Okay, maybe not. No Citadel, no Forge. It is just going to be continued Goon Reaver production. I don't even think we see any Zealots. Okay, there we go. Of course, at any time you make a statement like that, there's always the observer catching you being wrong there. So we do have at least some Zealots mixed in, but still a 20 supply lead for Stork.
Yeah, I'm surprised that we're...
Uh-oh.
Oh, no, here we go. Here we go. He's catching some units in the middle of the map. Will he continue to push up? He gets first blood there.
Now this move, I think he can make this work because he has so many units and his econ is so big. Also, that's a big shot, and the goons on the left side are a little late. However, Bisu getting some great shots also. So many goons getting popped. Look how fast those goons are, but he lost the shuttle and the Reaver. Is Stork going to do it?
He's pushing through here, man. He got 2 Reavers. This is huge. Big hits there. Backing him up on this high ground. He's got to be careful chasing the shuttle.
Yeah, but look at the... Oh my god! Those Reavers are hitting so hard. And I thought Bisu, or I thought Stork actually had enough to win that fight, but not the case. Bisu's going to hold on. But regardless, it's still a 15 supply lead for Stork. I think it's mostly in probes, so I would probably say that the army army supply is probably similar. However, a counterattack, again into high ground, goon versus goon.
He's got to be careful here, man. He can't overextend. His goons are really softened up.
Yeah, they are softened up, and he's going to back off. However, we did get a look in Stork's main. His main is basically mined out because of how many probes he has. So he needs to get another base. Even though Bisu is also mining out, it doesn't look like he's mining out as fast. So Stork definitely going to be obligated to build a Nexus in a second.
He's going to have to transition to a 3rd, right? He has too many probes. He's been mining. We see Bisu definitely cut before, so his eco is still pretty healthy. He's going to have to transition to a 3rd Nexus. I mean, these guys have been nonstop action. Trading armies nonstop has been crazy, man. And still no Citadel for either of these players. Just Goon Reaver nonstop.
Yep, and we did see Stork's main. It's basically gone now. Still no Nexus, though, so he's going to be long-distance mining. And, you know, he may feel like I can't afford to build a Nexus because it could come down to one attack. If I spend these 400 minerals on what could be 3 goons or 2 Reavers, you know, that could be the difference maker.
It could be. We're seeing these guys just pump goon, Reaver, and Stork is officially mined out in his main, so he's going to have to drop this 3rd Nexus down. And even Bisu getting low, man, on minerals.
Yep, both players just posturing back and forth. Shuttle with Reaver loaded up for both sides. Still no Nexus yet. However, somehow the 20 supply lead has turned into almost 30 supply lead for Stork.
Yeah, he said he must have a good chunk of probes, which makes me think that this armies are closer than we imagined.
Oh,
But
he
can
got
he
on high
catch these
ground.
goons out?
He got on
Can he
high
catch
ground.
these goons out?
Well, he's on high ground now. I don't see how Bisu can engage this. This was the position that Stork wanted, and like you said, he's now. Oh my! He's gonna have to attack into high ground from both, or I guess not both angles. Wow, Reaver out in the front. That's ambitious. However, maybe he can catch the shuttle. The shots are so big. Oh my gosh! What are these Reavers on? They're just mowing down these goons, and actually Stork is the one that overextended because now the units come in through the back, but the Reavers are still strong for Stork. Can they do enough damage though?
We are going for it here. What micro from the shuttle? He
Sick.
keeps picking up the Reavers before they get hit. These shots are insane. Nyoken, oh my goodness. He's done it. He's pushed through. That should be it.
That is gonna be
Stork,
it.
insane micro.
Boom.
He had 5-6 goons. Oh, no, man. Okay, back to normal scarabs.
Yeah, back to normal scarabs, the ones that do no damage. But that was a sick attack from Stork and Bisu all game long, especially the last one. Actually, I thought he overextended there because once Bisu came back, he had almost a 360 surround plus high ground. But those Reavers, I don't know what they're on, man, but those goons were blowing up.
Those are not normal Reavers.
No.
Those guys were definitely taking something back at home before they got in that shuttle.
Yeah.
But the micro from Stork was insane. Bisu moved up like 5 or 6 goons to hit the Reavers, and as they shot, he picked up the Reavers, so all the shots missed like 3 times, and then the Reavers fired back and exploded all of the goons. Like, it was wild.
Yeah, I don't know if any of those players had the damage upgrade on the Scarabs like you were mentioning, but I don't think I've ever seen Reavers deal that much damage. And we were hypothesizing that the difference in supply must be workers, and we're getting confirmation now. 36 workers for Bisu, 49 for Stork. So he was really, really low on econ here, Bisu was. But in the end, well, I guess Stork is the one that ended up winning, of course, with his final attack right here. Like, these, we don't get to see the upgrade.
This shot right here.
Yeah. I mean, there's even more. Like, that's right there. 4 just died. It's crazy. Oh, yeah. Look at that control right there. Avoids a shot. But even, I still
right
thought...
there.
Yeah, I even thought it was still going to work because these goons on the right side, you see they're on high ground. They're, taking minimal amounts of damage. Again, he just, the hot pickup over and over.
Cannot kill that Reaver. Thing is one shot. Can't do it. Just insane control from Stork.
Yeah, I was getting flashbacks to the nightmares I faced in Terran versus Protoss where they have 2 Reavers on high ground. I'm like, can you just die, please? Just please, can I hit these things? The answer is no. But we are going to go into Rush versus Stork as our winners match. We're going into oh no, we're not going into a break first. We got the Hot 6 commercial, but that's going to be amazing, man. What do you think about Stork's shot versus Rush? Stork, he's a well-known carrier guy. Rush, well-known for the upgrade Terran. You think that Stork can actually take him down?
I think he could do it. I think he has the ability. I'm not sure what map we're going to be on, what's going to be chosen, but I think some of these maps are not bad for carriers, man. Like La Cabanela, a lot of outside area, a lot of surface to fly those carriers around to avoid the middle, which doesn't matter because you have the carriers. You could just fly base to base to base. I think we're going to probably see him pull that out. I don't expect Shuttle Man from Stork. When I think Stork PvT, I think he's going to press some goons, a Reaver right into the carrier. So I kind of hope he sticks to that build order that he likes and he's very comfortable with, because I think he could get it done.
Yeah, I agree. And Rush, even though he does timings, more often, at least from my experience watching Rush, he's the upgrade Terran, and you can catch Terrans, even though 2-1 is great versus carriers, sometimes you can catch them before they get to 2-1. Last season, I think we were seeing Protoss players go for like 3 Nexus and then Stargate, and if I remember correctly, it didn't really work out as effectively as, for example, 2 base carrier. So I think if Stork wants to go carriers, it's got to be the 2 base carrier and try and kill Rush before he's maxed out 3-4 bases with 2-1 or 3-2, because once it gets to that point, yes, carriers are amazing, but 3-3, any Protoss knows that upgrade is pretty damn strong.
Yeah, I mean, carrier's crazy, but obviously upgraded mech is even crazier. So unless you get a ton, we'd have to get to the later game where Stark was able to get 6, 7, 8 carriers to be able to deal with mech that's 3-2. It's just too strong. But okay, have we seen much PvT on Invader? I feel like we haven't seen that yet.
I don't think
Or
we've seen a single Terran versus Protoss in Invader. We've seen Terran versus Terran. We've seen Protoss versus Zerg. Is that it? I think.
yeah, so I don't know if the Terran are gonna veto that map because it's 2-player. Like, could we have a gas deal
Yeah,
play? Because I'm imagining Stork would be very comfortable. He's been playing forever. He's been doing that forever. That might be something that if he can get as a map could also be a factor, right? Gas deal into something a little bit crazy. I just don't know as pro is how you fight on Invader effectively. You would definitely need to maybe not go carrier and play Storm there, but just theory crafting for Protoss versus Terran. If it was me, what I'd probably kind of want from that map, from a map in the map pool.
yeah, that's true. So we'll be going into a break and be back in 5 minutes. We are back and we're going into our winners match, which is Rush versus Stork. We have an Invader ban, no surprise there. And then La Campanella ban from Stork. And that means we've got Tempest as our map selection.
Okay. Definitely should be interesting here on Tempest. We've seen a couple PBTs happen here. Seems like 12 Nexus was the preferred opening for Protoss, which I think is obviously always strong, right? We'll see if he decides to go 12 Nexus Gateway or with the cannon. Do you think we'll see a CC first because of the high ground?
Yeah, I think it's likely we're going to see CC first or Gasless. You know, before we even got into the maps, I was thinking to myself, I think Rush needs to go Gasless at minimum here. And the reason I say that is Stork is a well-known carrier user. If you go Gasless, you can do any build. You can go for a timing and go kill him. You can play normal with upgrade Terran. So I think regardless, it's probably going to be a gasless or a 14C regardless of the map. But our players are ready. Let's get into our winners match. Okay, in the bottom right, our red Terran, it is Rush. And in the top right, our white Protoss, it is Stork.
It's hard not to be impartial here, Nyoken. Cheering for Stork, looking for another Protoss to go through. Come on, man, let's get it done.
Well, this is his best matchup, I think. I think this is, if you're going to make it out, you couldn't have hoped for a better matchup. We've got the ASL match history between both players. 1-1. Okay, that's a quick probe going out. Or maybe it's not as fast as I thought. So this is going to be forward pylon. Now, normally I would say that this is going to be for a gateway, but with it being Tempest, this could just be where he wants to build his initial pylon to build his forge or gate after going for 12 Nexus. We'll see if that probe goes back to actually put down a forward gate, because it is Tempest, and a lot of players do expect you to go 14cc or gasless, so something like a forward gate pressure build could be effective, and that's what it's going to be.
I was going to say, Nyoken, right? The mind games within the meta, knowing that people are going to go gasless or they're going to go 14cc, forward gateway with the Zealots coming out could cause a lot of pressure, right? Like, he can cause a lot of pressure here on Rush, and he can just go no gas expand himself, right? Make the 3 Zealot, make the Nexus behind, and go from there with either a Forge or just play in with gas. Like, he has those options, but it's going to be scouted here from Rush quite quickly.
Yeah, and like I was saying, I felt like gasless had to be the build for Rush here, especially for someone like Stork, and that's what he had planned. You could see he still has no gas. Now that he sees the forward gate, he's probably still not going to build gas, but this SCV is critical because now he comes in and sees that, hey, not only is it a forward gate, you don't have your gas, so I know that you were intending to go for a Nexus follow-up, and we do have the depot coming down for a slight Sim City. I don't think it's a full wall there, so he is still going to have the micro versus the Zealot.
And Rush can be a pain here now. It's SCV as well, blocking the Nexus, and if he was able to get his CC down pretty quick, he could do the old eBay block. Oh, there it is anyway. Oh, man. Painful there, Nyoken. We'll see if Stork opts to send 2 more probes out to kill this. We see a lot of pros do that. They want to get rid of the engineering bay as quick as possible. So, yep, here we are. We have 2 probes coming out. They'll help do damage to it to try to force that cancel.
Yep. Okay. A little bit of a misstep there, taking a shot, but this damage has already been done with the eBay because it forces the 2 probes. It's also probably going to force the second Zealot to not move across the map. He does clear out the eBay quite quickly, but it does, like I said, buy time for Rush to now get 4 or 5 Marines out before the Zealot gets across the map, and that means that this pressure really did not do the damage that Stork was looking for. He's also maybe going to lose this Zealot. Okay, well, that Zealot was angry, takes down 1 Marine, but still, that was not the trade that Stork wanted.
Yeah, he definitely wanted to get more done there and try to delay, because we saw, I think, the CC and the Nexus go down pretty much at the same time. And now with this bunker up, 4 Marines in there, there's gonna be no more pressure. We're not gonna be able to fight up that hill.
Yep. We've got gas being mined for both players. Slightly farther ahead is Stork's gas income. He's got cybernetics, I imagine, almost done. He's got a lot of gas built up, so he could rush tech.
Ooh, we got some counter pressure here from Rush. Rush moving across the map with 4 Marines. Gonna fight into the high ground here. Hopefully Stork is making another Zealot. If not, those 4 Marines might give this a hard time.
Yeah, I don't think he is building a Zealot. If I was Protoss here, I wouldn't be building another Zealot, but goodbye Probe. Nope, it actually survives. But 1 Zealot on the high ground can try and buy time. But these 4 Marines, whether or not they actually kill anything, doesn't matter. It's at least going to force the probes to pull off the line and help out. Oh my gosh, he lost the Zealot. He's going to lose multiple probes. Not like this.
No, Nyoken, no!
There's so many Marines left over that he can still pick off additional probes. He's even going to branch off one and just walk into the main and say, hey, I want to know what tech you're building. And he spots that the Reaver or the Robo's halfway done.
Yeah, this is really unfortunate. Really good move out timing here.
No way.
Rush, don't get not another one. Not another probe. All right. Really good move out timing. Good game sense to kind of just push across the map. That did do a ton of damage. It stopped the mining of those probes transferring over. Killed 2 or 3 probes. I mean, definitely good damage there from Rush.
Yeah, and you can see Stork, he's sending a probe out to top left. Seems like he wants to take another base. I think that's one way that you can catch up, is just build another Nexus and try and, recover your econ that way. But Rush, just like all other pros, when they do even a slight amount of damage, they will just go for a killing move. So he does have to be careful here. There is not that many Marines in that bunker, but with how the terrain is laid out at the natural, he's just going to have to poke in and back off.
I'm a little worried for Stork, Nyoken, with him having 1 gateway, not going Reaver first. This 2-fac pressure might catch him. Like, I don't see how he can hold both the natural and the third. All right, we do have 2 more gateways going down, but we're probably going to have 2 or 3 tanks, some Marines, and Vultures quickly out here to push across the map.
Yeah, well, Rush doesn't know if it's Reaver or Observer, so it could be a little ambitious to just move out without confirming whether it's an Observer. But you're right, this could be a punishing attack, but we do have Stork ramping up his gateway count, going into 3 gate pretty soon. The Vulture does intercept the probe, and he is going to find the expansion.
Yeah, Vulture gave the high 5 to the probe. Thank goodness he didn't kill it, so...
Yeah.
Oh no.
No.
Okay, no. Can't be taking damage on these goons. We won't be able to hold the push if we do.
Yeah, luckily for Stork, I would say at least Rush really rushed his weapon upgrade. So it is going to take him a bit of time to build up a sizable amount of units to feel comfortable about attacking with. In fact, he may not even consider going for an attack. I think he just now put down a 3rd factory, if I'm looking in his main correctly. But he could just go into faster upgrades. He could put down his starport and just go into quick 2-1 or expand if he wants.
Yeah, I think right now he has a lot of options. Okay, we didn't run. No. Oh, I'm shaking over here, Nyoken. Shaking in my seat, worried about these Dragoons walking into Spider Mines. Yeah. I'm like, is this best? Is this best just face checking Spider Mines with Dragoons? But I think right now if Stork can get up that Reaver up, he could probably delay the 3rd from Rush for a little bit, right? There is another high ground that goes in between the 2 bases, so could he get up there with the Reavers and start to push back Rush a little bit from taking that 3rd gas and then build his way into carrier? Or are we going to see Gateway Man? Because we're putting down a 4th gate already.
Yeah, the way the pylons are positioned, it does seem like we're going to have a lot of gates coming in. I actually think that's a smart choice. I think he lost too many probes in the beginning. His build got denied for quite a bit because of that, and if he was to go into Stargates, I think a single scan from Rush would just trigger him to put down like 7 or 8 factories and just go for a massive timing. We do have Rush going for the upgrades. I did see the starport at the bottom side of his base. He's playing safe with it too. He's got 4 factories before starting his command center, maybe even a 5th. There is a big building at the bottom left side of Rush's base. Not sure if those are depots or if it's actually the CC.
Yeah, my only fear on this map is attacking. Like, once Terran secures that 3rd, like, the space is so tight in between for gateway units. We kind of saw that in the snow game as well. We're going to probably need to get some shuttle man going on / storms right away, because the AoE, oh, there is a Stargate.
Yep, this better be for Arbiter, because this is actually going to be a 6 or 7 fact time. Nope. Oh, Stork fans, you're in trouble, because this is, I don't know if there could be a stronger counter to this. This is a 7 or 6 fact 2-1 timing on 2 bases. Rush is going to have so much stuff, it's going to be absurd.
Well, we're going to hope these 2 Reavers are hero Reavers. Just like in the last game, let's hope they explode all of the Terran units, because that's what we're going to need to hold this.
Yeah, this is just going to be so much stuff. He does scan the Stargates, and he does see it is the 2 Stargate carrier off of 3 Nexus, which is what I was talking about a lot of players doing last season. And there's the 7th factory. And you just knew it was coming. We're going to have a hybrid drop here, 2 Vultures, 1 tank. I actually don't think that this drop should do that much, because right now Stork is just content with sitting on his side of the map and slowly building up his carrier count.
I'm not sure what we have at the 3rd, but is this going to be a fantasy style drop here, Nyoken, where we have the tank with the Vultures kind of moving in together?
Yeah, well, I thought it was 2 Vultures and 1 tank, but now that I see all the Vultures moving with the drop, like you said, this does look like it's going to be the fantasy drop. I expect this to have 2 tanks now. And with it being a pylon wall here, you know, the goons can't engage from this side. So maybe he can actually get some damage done. Okay, that's great. He actually forces a full pull. And the goons are way out of position. They're all the way across the map.
Yeah, he's got to get the shuttle over there, get the Reavers to kind of help out, but he's not doing that. He's leaving them on the high ground to stop the push. And we're going to have to be extra careful here. Please do not run into those mines.
Yep, and I was just about to point out, he's going to kill the Forge. +1 weapon is massive versus a Terran that's going for 2-1. You must have at least +1 weapon. Like, there's a break point in terms of damage from the Vultures, or from the Zealots and the Goons. Like, you really got to match the armor upgrades, and now he's lost that upgrade. So not only is it going to be nigh impossible to stop this 7 fact timing, but now he's going to have to do it with an upgrade deficit. However, those Reavers doing work again.
Ooh, taking out a ton of Goliaths, but I don't know if that's enough damage here. I think he needed to get more done, at least to help delay, because now Rush can freely push across the map, because there's not going to be any more Reaver resistance, and we only have 1 carrier out.
Yeah, that's the main issue, is that carriers are strong, but they're not strong when there's only 1 or 2 of them, and we're at the point in the game where the +2 is going to kick in any moment now. As I say that, there it is. There's the tank drop at the top side, and again, the pylon wall prevents goons from helping. We've got a siege in the middle, and there's no way you can engage this. The tank count is too high, the Vulture count is too high, and I forgot about this, you can even siege the high ground.
Oh man, having lost temple flashbacks here, Nyoken. Tanks on a high ground on the cliff with no shuttle now. Gonna cause trouble. We see Stork moving in here, but these units at 0-0 are gonna be melted, man.
Yeah,
they're just gonna integrate.
Yeah, and like all other Aaron pros, you don't get time to breathe. Like, it's not I siege up and then sit there for 30 seconds and then unsiege. It's, oh, I siege, we won the fight, and we continue the push immediately. Already at the natural is Rush, and this, you just can't attack into this. I think the best thing that Stork can do is actually sack this base and pray that he can somehow get up 4 carriers maybe, and then try and engage. But Rush is just not going to allow that to happen, dude. You're going to have to fight me.
Yeah, he's taking such a dominant position on this high ground. How do units ever get out? We see mines to the left blocking the rest of the army. The rest of this army may not even make it back. Vultures in the main wreaking havoc. Oh, man. I think Stork here in big, big trouble.
Yeah, perfectly executed. This is a common build that Rush really likes to play, and behind it he is taking a third base. It's, you know, late, but it doesn't matter because he's about to kill his opponent. The mines are doing so much damage. I don't see an observer anywhere, so the zealots just get mowed down before getting any shots off. More vultures rallying through. You know, there's not that many Goliaths, but it doesn't matter if they're not dying.
And the +2 Goliaths we saw almost already destroyed that first carrier. He might have even got, nope, there it is. These 4 carriers fighting against 8 Goliaths are just getting crushed, man. And once this base goes down, he'll be on 1 base binding. He can't even support the carriers he has.
Yeah. Oh no!
Oh!
There it is. GG comes out, and well done from Rush. I think that was the perfect counter to what Stork was doing. You know that this guy loves carriers, and unfortunately, the 3 base Stargate, like I talked about last season, it's just too slow.
Wow, Nyoken, another Terran that's a
I know, man.
non-Protoss advances through. Shocker here. No way. Oh, it hurts. It hurts, man. I mean, the Reavers on the high ground were great, but Rush did such a good job of pulling the army with that fantasy-style drop that he was able to snipe the Reavers. And once there were no Reavers, he couldn't hold the push anymore. Like, you can't just pick away things. So he sacrificed 6, 7 Goliaths, but it doesn't matter. He was on 7 fact production. He's making units like crazy.
Yeah, and Rush has big econ too. He's got 55 workers, as you can see, and
Yeah,
this attack happened while the drop was happening, so Stork had to manage both. And you can just see how fast Rush unsieged there. Like, he instantly unsieged, and then he does a drop at the same time. And just what do you do as Protoss when you're facing somebody like this?
Yeah, this is difficult when you're trying to maneuver your army around the map like this. Defend drops where there's, I mean, he's dropping in 2 different places. This is very difficult. I mean, the Rush multitask is insane.
Yeah, you can see he's blowing up his keyboard right now. 420 APM. Hands are on fire. Meanwhile, Stork, it's not like he's slow at all. 270, that's more than enough. It's just, you know, that 4 Marine counterattack. I'm not saying that the result would have been different, but it obviously slowed down Stork's build quite a bit.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that might have forced him into playing with a 3rd Nexus. I'm not sure he would have opted for that from seeing past games, but because he took so much damage, I think he felt that he was behind economically, so he wanted to just try to get that 3rd base and get it up. But you call the Nyoken, these 3 base carrier timings don't work. They just don't work.
Yeah, when I saw the Stargate, I was actually hoping it was going to be Arbiter. Just because I felt like at least with Arbiter, you're going to get the stasis in time, whereas with the carriers, I just don't think you're going to hit critical mass. But
yeah. And Arbiter's good versus these 2 base timings, right? You stasis 5, 6 tanks, you're in business. So you could fight now with the ground army.
Well,
but the carriers take up so much supply. We saw that it was so close. It was only like a 20 supply difference for Protoss, and when you have 3 carriers, that's where all the extra supply is. So you're pretty much fighting with an even ground army, and he canceled the +1, so you're trading so ineffectively.
yeah, well, you know what the problem is, Razz? It's this thing called scanners. Terran players, they always play up, or not always, but most of the time they play upgrade Terran. They're always going on like 3 or 4 fact before expanding. But then they have this thing where they can just get intel on you for free. So when Rush scans and sees that it's carriers, well, he just floods factories. If he scans and sees that it's arbiters, he's just going to take another base. It's pretty insane how flexible just having scans allows the Terran to be.
Sounds OP, Nyoken. I'm going to be honest, you know, from where I'm sitting, I'm like, wow, imagine being able just to look at any part of the map whenever you want.
Yeah, pretty good.
Pretty good. Not for these poor Protoss players, man. Poor guys can barely get an observer anywhere with all the turrets around, and now you guys can scan it. It's just unfair. It's unfair stuff. But Rush goes through now, and we have Stork falling down. So we may still have a chance to get another Protoss player through at least. We have hope. There's 2 games left. Give us a chance.
Yeah, there is hope. It's still going to be tough, though, because Ivory played better than I was expecting versus Rush. He really brought it, even though he ended up losing. I think he missed his lurker timing by legitimately, what, 5 seconds or so? And then that could have been a completely
Yeah,
different game.
for sure. From the little I've seen of Ivory's EVP, he seems to like 5-hatch layer timings.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he can hit that because that's strong to hit before. The goal is to hit before Storm gets up and just have so many Hydra. But Bisu, PVZ Bisu, man. He's going to have those Sarah flying around, getting intel, popping overlords. That's going to be hard.
Yeah, I hope we get to see Invader. We've seen Protoss players fall on that map to Zerg, but I do like that it's a two-player map. There seemed to be a lot of action every time we've seen that map. And, you know, we could see a lot of harassment in the early stages with Zealot harassment or Ling run by or stuff like that. So I hope we get to see that as our map choice, or Tempest, simply because I'm trying to think, have we even seen really any PVZ there? I think there was just one, and it was a Hydra bust. But I think that was kind of a fluke on that map. But we'll be going into a break, and then we'll be back with our losers match. So don't go anywhere. And we are back, and we have an Invader ban, unlucky, and then we have a La Campanella ban, but we're gonna run it back. We've got Tempest again.
Oh boy, everyone seems to like Tempest, huh? Everyone feels it's balanced.
I guess so, or maybe they just hate the other maps.
Maybe. I look at Tempest and I think about later game PVZ Nyoken and trying to attack up these ramps into bases with Lurker Swarm.
Yeah,
And I have a little nightmares, little day terrors.
yeah, this seems like it would be a map that's very good for Larva, who doesn't care about splitting the map and just wants to get to Hive, get to late game, and just out trade you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be curious to see what third Ivory takes. Will he take another natural that's on a high ground and just get to 4 bases and play that Zerg style, which is very strong, or is he gonna take a third and play Hydra? Because one thing this map does eliminate, and I could see Bisu picking it, is Hydra busts are gonna be much harder.
Yeah, that is true, but the one game we did see on here where the Protoss fell was to a Hydra bust. It was very close. Like, it wasn't like there was an overwhelming amount of Hydras in the end, but it did end up eventually sealing the fate of that Protoss player. And we're ready for our losers match. One of these players, they've got to go. Will it be Bisu or will it be Ivory? And spawning in the bottom right position, the one and only, it is Bisu. And in the bottom left, our Zerg player, it is Ivory.
So, from the little I've seen of Ivory, like I said, he does like the 5-hatch lair play, looking for that timing, but I don't think this map favors that style. So hopefully he has something ready to go and adapted for this map, because I don't think just 5-hatch pressure is going to be able to bust someone like Bisu here. I wouldn't be surprised if we just see Bisu go for a forge opening, put down a cannon, and just take a Nexus, or just go Nexus first, go 12-12. So.
Oh, we got on a sign, man. Thank you. Thank you for putting that up there. Me and Eon Zerg, thank you for the shout out. Appreciate that. But yeah, I think you're right. We could have the Forge expand.
I think that's what we're going to see here. Him sending out the probe right away indicates that we're going to have a Forge. Or if he finds him first, he can just go for Nexus first. 12-12 is very popular right now because of all the overpool builds. It still beats the timing that you can get your cannon up and still not die to the Lings. But probably a 12-hatch here from Ivory, so...
Oh, there goes that.
Put down the Nexus first, man. Put it down.
No, not gonna happen. And we've got a double scout because he wants to know what this guy is doing. And when he comes in here, he will see that this was a 12 hatch. So at least he'll be able to skip the cannon and go into the Nexus.
Yeah, any kind of eco like that will help into the mid game, that we can get as many more probes down. I mean, I don't believe there's a good cannon rush scenario here, so we're not going to see that.
Okay, well, that's really fast gas.
Yeah.
Is this Zerg versus Terran that I'm looking at? It's a 2-minute gas. Now, what does this mean? Is this fast mutas?
So yeah, he could play 2-hatch from here, 12-hatch into a 2-hatch lair play, fast muta, where you look just to bust immediately. If it was a gateway first opening, he also could go just mass speedling and bust into the Protoss natural. One thing that you need to know when you're playing gateway versus something like this is you got to stay home, because if you go across the map and lose your first zealot, they could just flood and you can't hold. Luckily enough, he went forge, so I think we're going to see an immediate lair here from Ivory.
Yeah, well, I got a prediction for you, Razz. I think we're going to see the yellow versus Bisu throwback. I think this is going to be elevated lurkers into the main. Look at how close you can like build lurkers on the high ground there and then elevator into the main. I think we're going to have a Heartbreak Ridge scenario where that could definitely be the case. Just drop in there and just try and end it. If he's going to do that, though, this probe has got to die.
He's going to have to get this guy to make sure, but that's not a bad prediction, Nyoken. Not at all, because you're right. He's close. He can keep his overlords there. He won't be able to stop it with any units because he'll have map control. We went forward first, so could be a good thing.
Now he's pushed it out, so he can build the hydrogen if he wants. Do it, man. Do it. I want to see it.
Oh no!
I don't think it doesn't.
Don't do it.
Doesn't seem like it's happening
though.
though.
Build, Ivory. Let the Protoss players have one for the day. Come on.
Yeah, let them have a win.
Give us a win.
Well, there's no hydrogen, so I'm a bit sad about that. It does still seem like it's going to be extremely quick mutas, and there's no third hatch anywhere. The drone count is not that big either, and fortunately for Protoss fans, Bisu scouted it right from the start, so he should know that this is likely going to be mutas.
Yeah, the hard part here is that the muta comes so fast. You're probably only going to have one Sayer, maybe 2 up. You got to get a cannon immediately in the main, if not 2, because the first 4 muta fly across the map with a couple Scourge, and they can just pop your Sayer, and then the game is over. So he needs to be really careful, or if he's really committed, thinking like, yeah, this is 2-hatch, Muta, you can go double Stargate and run it over. But if you go two Stargate, it delays all of your other tech. So if they go some kind of crazy Hydra Lurker thing, you are stuck. So you're gonna have to feel confident that it's two hatch Spire to do the double Stargate.
Yeah, and there it is. I was just about to ask about the double Stargate, and he seems to be pretty confident that that's what it is, and he's right. So this is going to be a ton of Corsairs, and Ivory is going for a third hatch at the natural at top left. So if we do get into a mid or late game, he will have potential to go split map.
Love the pressure here. You know that his larva count is going to be low. So same thing almost like in TVZ where you can push across the map against the two hatch and force some lings out or force some sunk-ins. Anything is going to be positive here because these three zealots could get some work done if he doesn't include or add more. There we go. We see more lings being popped out, so those are not Muta. So that's a real big positive for him.
Yep, and there's the engagement, Zealot versus Ling. The Ling should win this battle, and even though the probe didn't get into the main, what it did see was the gas was mining, and I think if you were going to go for a lurker drop, I don't necessarily think you need to have that much gas to do that. So he should be pretty confident that it's going to be Mutas, and he's right, and unfortunately, that Scourge does not get any connections. Whoa.
He does see the double Stargate.
He's building a lot of hatches, man. He's going to build a macro hatch there. He's also, at least it seems like he's thinking about taking top left main at the same time.
I think that's fantastic for him, trying to transition out. I just don't know how, once these Sarah have +1 and they come across with 6, 7 of them, he keeps any Overlords alive. I don't know how he's going to keep a single one. Oh, unless...
Okay.
Oh!
That's a good interception, but yeah, it's going to be really hard, especially when you're playing a Protoss player that went double Stargate. He is going to put down that hatchery. I don't see an evolution chamber anywhere for spores. I don't see a Hydra Den anywhere for, you know, the Hydra anti-air.
That third gas tells me we're playing straight Muta Scourge. He's going to go mass Muta, mass Scourge, get the +1 armor, and he's just going to play out from there. He's going to look to wipe the Sair count and just take full map control with the Muta.
Okay, I'm a big fan of mass Muta in Zerg versus Protoss. It's surprisingly strong, especially if you can get to +2 armor, where you're, you know, really nullifying the Corsair upgrades. Don't know if we'll get to that point though, because Corsairs are crazy in the early stages, but that is a lot of Mutas and a lot of Scourge.
Yeah, I think that's his plan. He'll just continue to make them, hoping that he can catch the Sair army, because it's hard when the Muta engage onto your Sair and then the Scourge come flying in all spread out to take down everything at once, because the Sair pretty much target the Muta almost right away. So you got to be really, really careful with your control to make sure that you're going to be able to take these Scourge Muta out, because if your Sair count gets wiped, you are just behind almost the whole time.
Yeah. We do have Zealots. They did sneak up to top left, and now he does see, hey, this guy, he's mining gas. So now the gig is up. Like, it can only be mass air. I did see a Citadel went down for Bisu, so I hope if he's going to get an Archive that it is for an Archon, because those things can really help support the Corsairs for sure.
Yeah, so a couple ways to handle this, right? When you're playing Pros versus this, you continue your Sair count, you're on double Stargate, totally fine. But you also can get one Archon and take a third gas yourself. And then you could really ramp up your tech production, because once you have the Archon, the Muta really can't pressure you as much as they had before. And here we go. This is going to be a massive engagement if it happens.
Yeah, there's just so many Scourge and so many Mutas. The Corsair count, I think, is at around 11. He does catch one of them. That's great. But at the same time, he is going to lose some Scourge for that. Zealot speed, alright. Okay, we've got the massive engagement. Scourge from everywhere. He's not paying attention! But the Mutas are... Whoa, they got blown up!
Wow.
Well, now what do you do?
Well done there. Now this is what I was talking about. I don't know how he keeps any Overlords alive. We're just going to keep making Scourge and trying to get on top of the Sair, but the Sair are coming out 2 at a time as well, Nyoken, and he doesn't need anything but Speed Zealot to go everywhere else, right? Like, what else are you fighting? You got +1 versus Lings. We're going to be supply blocked here in a second. I think Bisu may have done it with that control.
Yep, the Sarah count was way too high, at least 11 of them I saw, and now Ivory is gonna be basically perma supply blocked. There's essentially no mutas, there's no Scourge, and we still have at least 8 Sares out on the map. There's the supply block, and once the first one comes in, it's probably not gonna stop.
No, he's just going to be able to.
Oh, he's just scouting. He knows it's
Ivory just
done.
looking.
There it is. GG.
GG. Wow.
Well, that was well done from Bisu hitting critical mass. You know, when the Scourge were flanking from the left side, I was like, dude, you gotta run away. But apparently he knew that he had more than enough, and he ends up taking that game. And Razz, we've done it. We confirmed that at least one Protoss will make it through.
It's happened. We've got another one. Finally. I've been waiting for days to see one of these Protoss players go through, man. Been shaking. I'm like, I'm not going to watch ASL. It's just going to be ZVZ, man, TVT. No Protoss in sight. But here we go. We got one of the legends going to be moving on through this group, baby.
Yeah, and based on how the first game went between them, I've got high expectations for the next one. Those Reavers, those those were crazy how much damage they were doing. I did want to ask you, as far as what Ivory could have done, like what do you think he was missing? Obviously, the engagement didn't help him, right? Like he ended up losing the game because of the engagement, but he had a lot of money. I was thinking, like, well, could he have mixed in some spores and just, well, then the game wouldn't have outright ended. He may have still lost, but he wouldn't have gotten perma supply blocked.
Yeah, I think he needed to have more Scourge, honestly. I think the mute count was fine because you're not really looking with that comp to try to just kill Protoss. You're trying to just kill all the Seraph and then add Muta, right? So I think when you saw that initial engagement, we saw like 6 Scourge with the Muta and then like 10 come from below. That's just not enough. Not when there's double Stargate. I think he needed to just make more and more Scourge, try to fly them in and kill as many Sarah as possible. I think that would have been better because once you leave 6, 7 with +1 behind, it's just so hard to produce out of the larva anymore. I mean, I also like to see him move out with the Muta a little earlier, like get more Muta before the 2 first Scourge so that he could fly in and try to harass a little bit. That I think also would have been better because that's like your goal, right? Like when you play that 2 hatch build, your goal is like I'm gonna get there quick with Mute and I'm gonna harass. He wasn't able to do that because he made the Lings and the Scourge, so I think that would have been a little bit better for him.
All right, well, next time I'm sure he'll, keep something in mind like that. And we're going into a break, and we'll be back with our final game of the day. And now it is time to get into our final map of the round of 24. And it's your favorite. We finally get a retro ban and a dark origin ban, and that leaves open Polypoid.
They heard me. They heard me like, Razz doesn't like this. We're going to play it.
Yeah.
We're going to play it.
No other group, I think, played a single game on Polypoid, and they're like, you know what? He's here. It's time to bring it out. But at least it's PvP.
Yeah, and I mean, you'd expect these two guys to probably pick a map like this. They've been playing forever. They're really okay with the standard. They're really comfortable with it. And Polyvoid PvP is as standard as it gets.
That's for sure. And the first game was absolutely crazy. If you guys are just tuning in, highly recommend watching match 2 between these two players. It was a slugfest, really back and forth. And it's time to find out who's going to be our final player to make it into the round of 16. Will it be Bisu or will it be Stork? Let's find out. Okay, in the bottom right, looking to get redemption from the first game, it is Bisu. And in the bottom left, our blue Protoss trying to prove that, hey, that Apocalypse game, that was no fluke. It's Stork.
Well, I know who our Zerg companions are probably rooting for. They'd probably rather see Stork go through than Bisu. But I'm just happy we're going to have another Protoss player coming through this round, man.
Yeah, and as an old school StarCraft fan, it really doesn't matter to me who makes it in because I want to see one of the legends make it in. I want to see Stork, go far, or Bisu just mow down all these Zergs that are awaiting him in the round of 16. We've got no shenanigans this time. It's just a normal pylon in the main.
Yeah, I mean, Polypoid does open up a 2-gate scenario. 10-12 is pretty strong here. The bases aren't that far apart. I doubt we'll see that from a player. Most pros don't opt into those builds because they defend so well. So I doubt we'll see a 10-12, but never know.
You never know. Now that gateway is in an interesting position at the left side, so I don't think Stork will be doing 10-12.
Nope, he'll be putting a cybernetic score below that gateway to help funnel units out.
We do have the gas. Meanwhile, Bisu no gas yet. Okay, there it is.
12 gas for him. Interesting.
And look at the scouting timing difference this time around. We have a 12 scout, whereas last game, or the last time we saw them play on Apocalypse, it was something like a 15 or a 16 scout. So already a pretty big difference in that aspect. And luckily for Stork, he is going to find him first. But Bisu, when he sees this probe come in, I'm sure he's going to do the end scout because there's no way that he could really be anywhere else.
Yeah, focusing here on the Kakaru flying in, man.
Yeah. You can parasite those things and they give vision. Did you know that?
Oh, I didn't think about it, but that's pretty crazy.
Yeah. I think there was a game, was it Nada? Or for Reach or somebody, where somebody parasited the Kakaru and was giving vision, and then he went around the map and killed every single one, like the next time they played. Can't remember exactly, but it was something like that.
And he's like, not again, not again.
Or maybe it was the Ursadon getting in way of the Nexus being built. Can't remember exactly, but I do know that they do give vision. Regardless, there is mirrored builds so far. Zealots out for both sides. But Stork got the Zealot on that ramp. Okay, now you're playing with fire here. If this probe dies, I'm sorry, Razz, I can't feel bad for him.
I know. You're messing around. Ooh.
Yeah, messing around.
He does pull it out, but he's never going to be able to walk past it now. Now it's going to block him forever. And once again, big advantage to Stork, man. Like, Bisu has no idea what's going on in this base. There could be a Citadel down ready. He's going to have to play Robo first. And Stork knows that. So he could take advantage of it in a couple ways. He could just go down one gate into a Nexus, knowing like, hey, you got to play robotics because you have no idea what I'm doing. or he can just go into 3-gate and then press him again. So definitely an advantage here to Stork in the early game because of information.
Yep, and we'll see how he wants to capitalize on that advantage. So far, everything looks basically identical, almost the same amount of money. Is there... I don't see a big tech building coming in for any player just yet, just continuous goon production. And that is not what I was expecting. It's a Nexus.
Wow. Not expecting that from Bisu's side at all, because he didn't scout Stork. So, like, you don't know if this guy has an archives building right now, and you'll be dead in a second. So he's risking it all, man. He's saying, you know what, I'm going for heavy eco. He'll probably add 3 gateways behind, or 2 gateways behind us, and there they are. The common variations you have are either go 3 gateway heavy Dragoon production, or you go 2 gateway Robo, and then you just get your own Reavers and get into 4-gate once your Nexus is up. So he's opted just to go with heavy units, and Stork did go 2-gate Robo. So there should be a time where if he does go 2-gate Robo Reaver, where he can press Bisu a little bit.
Yeah, but this looks basically identical to the game before, and it is, because there's observatory coming, and this time around, the Nexus is considerably faster than it was last game. That means that I don't know if Stork can match the Nexus timing and try and like play for mid and late game. He may have to actually just go and end this guy. Otherwise, it's going to snowball out of control, because the Nexus is just going to give him such a massive econ. The probe comes in and invokes and sees that there's no Nexus. However, Stork does spot the Nexus. Now, what does he want to do about this? Is he going to try and expand himself?
He's going to hit the panic button, and he's going to have to go with the shuttle and a Reaver and go, because there's no way to recover from this position by taking your own Nexus and sitting there. I don't think we're going to see it from him. If I were him, I would even throw down a 3rd gateway, stop probe production, and just go for it, man, because, like you said, you're so behind right now.
Yeah, I think that would be a good choice, but it's going to be hard to get across the map because there's Coon sitting on the high ground. That's going to buy time. We saw how much it bought time last game, and also Bisu may even try and commit to attack there. Okay, Bisu's actually going to... Okay, well now Bisu sees there's 2 Zealots, and that may, you know, flash warning signs that an incoming attack will be coming momentarily, but the probe is set up like it's going to expand.
Yeah,
Wow.
he's gonna I'm surprised he's decided to take a Nexus and play out here, Nyoken. It's doable, but you're just got to play super defensive the entire time and try to harass. Like, how do you catch up on goon count? How do you catch up on probe count with the Nexus this late? I don't know. I'm not loving that decision by Stork, but we'll see what he comes up with.
Well, Stork may be thinking that, hey, this guy had a faster expansion last game, and he just cut 1 billion probes. And if we look at the Nexus, in fact, he is continuing to cut 1 billion probes. And this is a 5-gate. So actually, Stork going for a Nexus could be okay, because he's going to have the tech advantage. He's obviously not going to have the goon advantage. But if he can put down like a battery, put down a shuttle, or get a shuttle, he may be able to hold this incoming 5-gate timing.
Yeah, he'll definitely be able to hold with the double Reaver because of the way that the natural is set up. My fear for him is going into the mid-game here. If Bisu decides, you know what, I'm going to throw down another Nexus on the high ground. Then how do you march across the map? I think that's where it gets tricky. But he, you know, PvP's crazy, man. One good Reaver drop, one good Storm drop, and the whole game dynamic changes. So he's not out of it, but he definitely has his work cut out.
Well, it seems like Bisu has realized that, hey, this is not going to be a timing to come and kill me. So we now see him starting to build more and more probes. I think that's a smart move, but there's no shuttle. Okay, I actually thought that those Reavers would pop those goons.
We're so used to it now. We're trained from game 1 to think 2 shots go out, boom, where's the 6 goons that are dead? We're just waiting for it.
Stork has a lot of gateways too. He's got 4 gate, and he is cutting probes. He knows that he has tech advantage. He's now got his NAT up and running. Even though Bisu just has 1 billion units, a lot of them can't really contest the Reaver. Like, there's a lot of Zealots, and they're just going to get like 2-shotted in an instant. So maybe he's thinking about actually putting on a counterattack. I hear the shuttle loading up. He is going to go for it, but this is Polypoid. You've got the high ground at the third base. This is an awkward angle to attack into.
Awkward angle and huge unit
Yeah.
advantage here for Bisu.
Yeah,
A lot more goons. And he's spread those zealots in there, and those are exactly going to get melted, but those are what they're for at this point. Like, he wants the Reavers to hit those. Oh my goodness, here we go. This is it. The arc is huge for Bisu. He's coming in, man. This is the moment. This is the moment. Zealots tanking shots, microing well, but he cannot retreat. His army is here. Bisu goes for the shuttle. He gets it.
Yep.
Big hits from the Reavers, but one Reaver down, man.
Yep, the concave is just too good, and like you said, the unit advantage was massive for Bisu, and he just crushes that army. And now Stork, okay, I was gonna say he's mega all in, and he's just out, man. He GG's.
No NAGG timing, man. We're gonna actually give up now that we've lost our entire army. We're behind.
Yeah, I think the idea was okay, but Bisu just had way too many gates for way too long, and it was just an overwhelming amount of stuff. You know, I actually thought maybe Stork was acting like he was going to attack and then actually branch off the shuttle and unload in the natural and then just get a few shots off onto the probe line and leave, but nope, he really committed there, and unfortunately, like you said, the Zealots, even though they get blown up by the Reavers, bought the Goons a lot of time to just knock down that shuttle and knock down the Reavers, and that's just how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, that's Preuss versus Preuss, man, and that's why I say build orders can be so big. And Bisu went super greedy. You know, he put it all on the line. He greeted. He went one gate Nexus, and when you do that, your eco is just booming so hard that you can produce units like he did, 5-6 gateways, right? And here we have a replay of this. We just look, I mean, just the unit count, the arc, it's just crazy. You have one group of units plus Reavers versus like 3 groups of units.
Yeah, and we were talking about the power of this additional Nexus from Bisu. Look at the worker count. It was 12 a minute ago advantage, now it's 10. If you factor in the difference there, the supplies are somewhat close, but it's still like a 10 supply army advantage for Bisu. The Zealots, I'm surprised they survived so long. Like, look how many are still alive on this army, and Goons don't do well versus them at all. Like, it felt like, if we look at supply, Bisu lost like 20 supply, and Stork lost, what, 40? It was just an overwhelming victory.
There's the Bisu fans. They're getting excited. Loving it.
Well, he got redemption for the Apocalypse game, man, and now he should be feeling good about his remaining opponents because there's mostly Zergs.
Yeah, PvZ definitely his best matchup. Legendary in that matchup. He should be feeling very comfortable going into the next round. I mean, 7 Zergs to choose from, so he should be feeling great. And well played that game from him, man. Sometimes I think players get nervous about putting it all on the line in these types of moments, and he did. He was like, hey, whatever, dude. If you're going DTs, you got me. He's like, yeah. I'm just, you win. Like, there's no way around it. But put himself in a good spot.
Yeah, I'm sure he's played Stork so many times that he knows the tendencies, like kind of like how everybody knows he's going to play carriers in Preuss versus Terran. I'm sure he knows, like, okay, maybe it is a coin flip technically, but it's like a 90-10 coin flip, right? Like, it's heavily in my favor. So if we were to match up in ASL 10 times, I'm going to have the massive advantage 9 out of the 10, and sometimes you just got to go for it like that.
Yeah, that's part of the game, right? Sometimes you got to take a risk, and you got to go on what you know from players and what their, like you said, tendencies are, and you just play it out. And that's how you have to try to get advantage, especially at this level where everyone is so close. You need that. You need that a lot, and it paid off for him big time today because he was able to advance through.
Yep, but Stork, he played well. Like, it was impressive play on Apocalypse. I was very surprised that he traded as effectively as he did. And seeing the shuttle control reminded me of the golden days of Broodwar, where I remember seeing the absolute madness of players like Bisu and Stork and, you know, Cal and other Protoss players of that nature, where the shuttle just looked unkillable, and it actually was on that Apocalypse game. Absolutely beautiful play. Unfortunately, he's out. Unfortunately, Ivory's out, who, you know, even though I didn't have a lot of intel on Ivory, I really was rooting for him to go deep because it's not often you get to see an amateur or a new face in ASL. Like, who's a new face that we've seen recently? Bishop, and then after him, not really come to
Bishop,
mind. Like, other than
maybe
Soma.
Scan.
Oh, Scan, yes, Scan, he was there. I guess, now that I'm thinking about it, there have been quite a few, like Scan, Sins,
Sins, yep.
Soma, at one point was a newcomer, and look at him now, he's dominating.
Doing great. And you have your people that are not regular that jump in and out, barracks, guys like that are in one season, out the other. But like, you're right though, there aren't like a ton of like, oh, I've never heard that name. Gammo, right? He was kind of a new guy that I didn't know who he really was till he jumped on the scene a couple seasons ago. But other than that, we usually have the same. So it's not like, you're right. It's nice to see someone different come in and kind of show off. And he didn't waste the opportunity. At least he could feel like, hey, I played my builds and I tried.
Yeah.
He didn't just come in 4 or 5 pool each game. He went for it. He
Yeah.
tried to play standard macro games. He got a little tricky against Bisu and tried to play, which that build is very viable. It's a very strong build. I mean, you're playing against the best of the best. They're not surprised at this point.
Yeah, it did look like a good showing from Ivory, so I hope he does well next season. It's obviously going to be tough to make it in any season for any player because of how stacked ASL has become. But we do have our round of 16 set. Let's say you're Bisu here. Obviously you want Zergs, but are there specific Zerg players that you would want to face? I've been reading that Hero is just an unstoppable player in ZVP, so we'll skip him. But other than him, what would be your dream group for Bisu here?
I would love to see him probably get in there with. Gutting in with any of the 4 that are there are tough. I don't want to see him play PvP with Best. I love them to avoid each other at this point, so we're not having
Yep.
Protoss on Protoss crime. Like guys just really killing each other. We don't need any of that. So maybe JYJ. I think his TVP is obviously very strong. He's fantastic, but I think mine really was impressive TVP last season, and he had a hard time there. So I like to see him with that group with maybe someone like Calm or Killer. Not because they're bad, but we saw a lot of all-in style play from them, where I think Bisu can handle that. Like, Bisu's going to be like, all right, I'm not going to let you bust me. I'm going to go for it. And if you can prep for that and know that that's coming, I think you're in a much better spot. So for me, getting a couple of those Zergs that won games, did well, but aren't the level of someone like Hero, because you are right. He is an absolute monster. I don't want him in that group.
Yeah, I was surprised that Cruiser was telling me that Hero's ZVP is as strong as it is. But we did get a rundown of how the games went. Rush makes it out in first. Bisu with the comeback getting out in second place, and we have our final players set. As I mentioned, we've got 7 Zergs, 6 Terrans, 3 Protoss. Not bad. I was worried that we were going to only have 2, and it would be rough if we just have all Zerg and Terran going all the way. But, that happens sometimes. But at least the 3 Protoss that made it in, like, these are the best of the best. They're the ones that you expect to go deep. I guess the one that is missing is Snow. That was a little bit disappointing because with so many Terrans in the round of 16, you would probably favor Snow versus all of them.
100%. His PBT is just insanity, man. He's crazy. He's just crazy. But he had the opportunity versus Royal, man. PBT. You think he'd get it done, and he didn't. So it's sad not to see him because he's one of my favorite players for sure. He's someone you can definitely try to model some of your play off of. Not that these other 3 aren't. Maybe Mini's not. He is, I think, the craziest PvP, PvT, PvZ styles. He just goes for it. But I would have loved to see Snow make it through at least one more round.
Yeah, it is true. If you were to copy somebody, I would definitely recommend Snow. 1, his builds are solid. He doesn't go crazy on the keyboard. He doesn't have 500 APM. He isn't dropping like Dark Archons and, mind controlling and, building Archons versus Terran and building 100 DTs and stuff. Like, it's just super solid build. The only thing that is absolutely mind-blowing for Snow is the Reaver control. But you can practice that. You can work on that. But yeah, I am sad to see that he didn't make it. But regardless, round of 16 is going to be fantastic. I'm very excited for it. We do go into a break, I think, for a week. We're going to have the group selection, if I remember, about maybe it's this weekend or the next weekend. I think it's this weekend, but then I think there's going to be a week break, so we're going to be back in about 2 weeks from now, if I remember correctly. I'm checking right now.
Yeah, I know that I think we spoke about there being such a crazy little break in the middle there. We were kind of surprised.
Yeah, so
But
if you guys are interested in the group selection being live, it is going to be August 28th. We're not going to be doing that VOD because nobody here speaks Korean, but you can check it out on Afrika, and then the groups are going to start up, I imagine, probably a week after that.
exciting. Who do you want from the Terran? Who do you want them to kind of pair up with? Do you want to see Terran versus Terran? Does that get you all excited and ready to go for ASL, or do you want to see some
I'm looking at who I would
TVZs,
like to
TVP?
see. You know, Sharp, he's a mastermind in Terran versus Terran, so if we did get him in a group, I would like to see him in a Terran group. I want to see JYJ versus Protoss players. And or Zerg,
Okay.
actually, because he pulled out all the stops last season with the two-port Wraith in the finals. He was playing amazing. So I want to see JYJ versus anything other than Terran. And then Hero, I know you don't want Protoss, but I want to see how strong Hero's ZVP is. Because if he's as deadly as he is, just put all the Protoss players in there and just show me that he's that strong.
Oh man, trying to get rid of all three of them. Trying to get rid of all three of
Yeah,
them.
get
Thanks,
him out.
Nyoken. Appreciate it. Get them out. They made it through the round of 16. That's enough for those three.
Here's your reward. You get matched with Hero.
What a reward. So generous.
I think it's likely that JYJ is going to get a lot of Zergs because he played so well versus Zerg last season. He also has the last pick by being able to switch out somebody from another group. So I have a feeling that he's going to stack the Zergs that a lot of Terrans end up actually going for. And as I mentioned earlier in the cast, there's that mousepad that I was talking about. Looks pretty sick. Definitely, if you have interest in a new mousepad, check out Afrika's shop page and you can order it there. I'm sure that they'll send it internationally, but I don't quote me on that, but I would bet that they might do that.
Pretty good looking mouse pad there.
Yeah. Soon I'm going to be on that. Soon Artosa is going to be on that pad. You know what I mean?
He's going to be on there. He's 2400, man. He's almost there.
He's there.
He's ready.
Yeah. I would love it
He's
if
just
a foreigner made it onto that mouse pad. That would be amazing.
Well, I heard your comments yesterday, Nyoken, about maybe bridging the gap a little bit, not a ton of
Yeah.
bit,
Just a
a little
little.
bit,
A little.
just a little baby bit. And I definitely agree with you in terms of like we saw DeWalt this year do pretty well against some of the amateurs and even hold his own against some of the pros. And that's probably the biggest and closest a foreigner has ever gotten or done versus a lot of the pros in Korea.
Yeah, and it's not just, foreigners, meaning like European and North American. We also have Mihu, who's
Yeah.
playing out of his mind. There's been show matches versus Koreans versus the Chinese players. John Hoon has been killing it. Mihu's been
Yeah.
killing it. I think, what is it? Dugu has gotten some wins. Xiao Shuai has gotten wins. There's actually a lot of Chinese players that get consistent wins versus the Korean pros. So it's an exciting time because I would have never imagined that in a million years because the gap has been
Nope.
so big for so long.
Yeah, it's definitely closed. Like you said yesterday, the information that's out there is just so much. So like you can get better as a player. You can improve. You can find these builds. You can find these replays. Like things that were not available 15, 20 years ago are finally out there for all of the players who are non-Korean.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about, even a few years ago when Remastered just came out. You remember when Scan used to play those foreign tournaments and he would just annihilate everybody. And now DeWalt and Bonnet and Eon Zerg and, Zeke, they actually got good shots at beating Scan these days. Like, it's not just going to be Scan dominating all the time.
Yeah, we've definitely seen an increased amount of play from those players there at the top, man. They're They're really good, which, like you said, is very exciting for the far end scene, especially in Broodwar in general.
Yep. And it looks like KwarK giving us the signal, I think, that today. Oh, no, we still got the mouse pad promotion. Well, what about you, Razz? What are you up to these days? We haven't seen you in a long time. You have any plans for playing in BSL, for example?
I've been messing around a lot of the BSL Thailand tournaments and a little on the ladder. Nothing super crazy. We just got together in Nyoken. We had our New York City LAN for our NA folk that were out there. That was fantastic. And we've been commentating together a little bit on some of the other events and WSL coming out and things like that. So who knows? I'm a teacher by profession, so I got school starting up here next week. So that'll definitely take up some more of my time as well.
Yeah.
But uh, you know, you, everyone doesn't know Nyoken getting back into a little bit there, playing some games. It's exciting times for us watching him play.
Yeah, a little bit. After the land in New York, I queued up some ladder, and I was talking about how my hands felt really good at the land. Like my mouse, it felt comfortable. The keyboard felt comfortable. Then when I got back home, I guess it was a fluke because I got home and everything felt unfamiliar. I'm queuing ladder. I'm losing to literally just the worst stuff ever. And it's just like, oh man. Like you take a break for even like a couple days and everything just goes down the drain in terms of, comfortability playing Brood War. You just get slammed by everything. It's depressing.
Yeah, that's for sure. And you're not wrong. A couple days off, next thing you know, you're like, oh man, I can't even click.
Yeah.
What's
Did I
going
age 20
on?
years? What happened?
Like you're like my hands don't feel good, my body, I don't know what's happening, but it's just crazy. And this game is just so tight, especially when you play at a pretty decent level and you just like you said, you come back and next thing you know, you're like, whoa, I can't beat these guys. Like what's going on? They've gotten better or something. But
Yeah.
it's wild. It's wild.
Yeah, it is rough. Like I had a couple moments where, like you said, I like the mouse isn't moving as I want it to do, and I'm having like a gypsy mode, and I like I've lifted the mouse up and it's in my hand. I'm like thinking about throwing it against the wall. I'm like, no, we gotta chill, man. We just haven't played in a while.
Here comes the keyboard throw.
Yeah,
Toss across the room. Keys everywhere.
yeah,
It's just too much. It's just hard game. I think people in Brewer say, "Oh man, how do I get better? This and that. Like, what can I focus on?" And I feel as a player who's gone through a lot of that process and still does, like you get better at one thing and then something else gets a little weaker. Being consistent across the board at everything is just very hard. That's why watching these guys play all the time is insane to me. Just how consistent and how good they are day in and day out with all these games.
yeah. And they've been at the top for 15 years or so. Like there's never
Yeah.
anybody new other than Soma. Like that's it, really, or Scan or Sins. But you can count on one hand the newcomers to the pro scene pretty much. Everybody else has just been there forever.
Yeah, and that's why it's so impressive. Like these guys don't drop silly games to someone they don't know, or this like
Oh
they're
no,
just always good. They're just always fantastic.
yeah, it's
And you're like,
crazy.
how do you do it? I don't know, because like I think that's the hardest part is the consistency and playing games well. And these guys just do it. They're like machines.
Yep. And now I think finally we're getting the word that today's cast is over. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, we've got the group selection on August 28th. StarCast TV is not going to be doing it, so don't expect to catch us, but you can definitely check out the Korean cast, and then we'll be back the following week with the beginning of the round of 16. So again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you then.